Hello, 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 everyone.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the freedom of speech versus bearing arms. Is there a difference or is it the same? And I guess some people are getting it confused because of some of the things we're seeing in today's society is that they're getting it mixed up. So what have y'all heard so far about this I guess you could say the difference, or I should say the balance between the two.
Somebody else can go first.
Hmm?
Somebody else can go
Can y'all hear
first.
me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay.
They're 100% different. That's why it's the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Freedom of speech and the right to bear arms. Now, the problem comes in, and as to what the lawmakers are supposed to do, is define them. What constitutes this? What constitutes the right to bear arms? What constitutes freedom of speech? And then they need to define what doesn't constitute that. The blurred lines are, especially with the right to bear arms, there are no checks and balances in place to stop personnel who are defined as shouldn't be owning a weapon. It's not defined. Anybody can go get one, and that just plays into the how much power that NRA has, because that is the one thing that has not gone down, and that is the purchase of weapons and whatnot. Uh, it's we're in a sad state of affairs because this is why it keeps happening, because they will not define what constitutes Mario or Eric not getting a gun. He said, "What? Oh, we need to put that on him and red flag it so he cannot own one." Okay, but they're not doing that. Anybody can get one, and furthermore, they need to raise the age to at least 21. I think if it's good enough alcohol, I think weapons are more important. You should have. It should be that like that for that too.
And then my take on it is like, is it really freedom of speech? You know what I'm saying? You say it says we have freedom of speech, but nowadays when you say certain things, they try to penalize you. You know what I'm saying? That they hold that against you and stuff like that. So really, do we have a freedom of speech? And then also to bear arms, stuff like that. I think it's based on demographic as far as like, because I know like when we got out when we purchased our guns and stuff like that, you know, we had to go through the whole 9 yards and stuff like that. So now we're wondering, do we have to re-register? Do we have to, you know, because they said that everybody now can get a permit. You know what I'm saying? But is that yeah, but is that really true? Because they are still trying to they put stipulations on certain, like I said again, areas for people to not be able to get guns and stuff like that. You know, so is it really the amendments what they say? I don't think I think it's I think it's like it's up and down. It's like up and down. It's all about what somebody say and who the person is trying to get a gun. That's my opinion.
Well, I think we're kind of going back to the Wild Wild West, at least where I live at. There is no, you don't even have to have a concealed license to carry in Georgia anymore
Mm-mm.
as of last year. So you want to carry a gun, you just carry a gun. And it is upticking in violence. 18-year-old was just killed sleeping in her bed Saturday night, just celebrated her 18th birthday. And her mom says she heard a gunshot, walked in her daughter's room, and her daughter was holding her chest, had been shot in the chest, died at the hospital. So, what I think is getting confused is lobbyists are trying to encourage people or make people believe that by raising the age limit or restricting who can purchase the gun, that that's taking away a freedom from them. No, if you are a law-abiding citizen with a clean bill of health, medical record, whatever your mental health check, whatever it is you got to check. Nobody's trying to take away your right to bear arms.
Mm-mm.
And nobody's trying to take away your right to purchase a 9 millimeter or whatever else you want. But why do you need a Glock? Why do you need what is
Chopper.
it? Yeah, chopper, whatever they call it now. Why do you need that? Those are for war. So it's almost like some countries have a law where you can't have guns, period. You're not supposed to have them.
And
Um,
China.
Yep. But even though they have crime, it's not at the alarming rate that we have in America. So that's why I felt like the topic was so hot and heavy, because people are mixing up their freedom of speech, their freedom to bear arms are two different things. So you can't combine them and expect a positive outcome, because you got people saying, "Oh, well, you want to take my gun from me?" No, nobody wants to take your gun from you. If you don't have a history of violence, or and I also was saying earlier that these teens that have mental breakdowns as teens, those records should not be sealed. That should still carry into their adulthood. They should have to be reevaluated again before they can bear arms or be able to purchase weapons. Because if you look at what happened in Jacksonville, according to what they're saying, that young man at 17 had exhibited mental health crisis type behavior, but yet he purchased those guns legally. That was not an illegal purchase. And my thing is, why are parents not able to turn their children in and say, I don't think my child should be able to have a gun? Because I don't think those parents were advocates for him to have a weapon based on his history. But there was nothing they could do to stop him from having a weapon. So that's just my take.
But I think what my outlook on it is, the United States is out of control. There is no, I don't care what laws, what everything they put in place, they can't control the guns anymore. The guns are completely out of control. So for them to even try to put any laws or trying to do anything to fix or to make changes to the Second Amendment, it's like it's impossible. I mean, now they're having problems with ghost guns. I mean, now they can get guns. Like one of the things I was reading is that they can get a gun, send pieces to them, and they can build a gun, and it's untraceable. Those are the problems that we're running into in the U.S. Is that now technology is now making it easy for people to get guns who shouldn't have guns. I mean, you got how many felonies you actually got out here? Every time you hear about a child getting shot, one of the parents is a felon, shouldn't have a gun in the house in the first place. So the laws are not the gun laws we have now are worthless. They're not going to get any better. There's a $1 billion industry. So if there's money being made, nobody's going to mess with that industry.
Right.
And then they were saying there's more guns than people in the United States. So it comes to the conclusion to me, it's just like it's like I said, it is the Wild Wild West. There is no such thing as controlling guns anymore, because guns are out of control. You can't control gun laws anymore. I mean, the police are outnumbered when it comes to guns. I mean, there's more guns out here. They'll take out a police officer than police officers have access to take down people. I mean, it's crazy that when a police officer goes to a mass shooting, they actually have to go up against a weapon designed for war. That right there should be. I mean, if we can't control that, then we can't control nothing. So it's like, to me, the way the U.S. is so corrupt when it comes to money, industries, and things of that nature, guns will never be controlled. I mean, it's just the best thing you can do is hope and pray you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, now it's getting to the point where it's almost like being in the combat zone. You better go ahead and get your body armor, buy your bulletproof vest, put on the helmet, Kevlar, because every time you get in your car, you never know. I mean, here I'm just looking at the shooting that just happened within 3 blocks of my house over the weekend. Right? I mean, that kind of, that's crazy. That's too close to home.
Yep.
What happened?
Oh, car got somebody shot a car. Shot. You can see where it went. The bullets went through the window right here on 71st Road, which is the main road that connects my neighborhood going out to everything. So then I guess that person in that car drove around. We had 3 shootings in Fayetteville this weekend. 3. Yeah. And then within North Carolina, they have so many shootings, it's ridiculous.
Well, they talk a good game again. Once you become a $1 billion company, the lines are blurred. And
on purpose,
this
right?
this company that I alluded to earlier, if you look and you look at the history, they've had their hands in the government since the beginning of time. And it's not going to change. Why? Because it's benefiting certain people. But one of the problems is that what I went through when I tried to get my permit. Well, we saw that you did such and such and such and such. I say, well, I went to see the doctor, and then I realized, like, well, the dope records are supposed to be sealed. How do you have access to them? Well, this is. I said, see, this is where you mess up at. The problem is these background checks. Another problem is that's another reason why they stop this. You can just buy a weapon because they do a local background check. You and I both know a local background check don't mean nothing. If you haven't done anything locally in Fayetteville, boom, you good, you get a gun. But what they should have done is made it nationwide, but they don't want to pay for a nationwide background check. And see, that will incorporate everything, and that will tell you, if you ain't got nothing to hide, you ain't got nothing to hide. But if they do it nationwide, boom, okay, well, here it is right here. It should be something, even if the records are sealed, it should be something just like you have the mandatory reporters. It should be something that comes in on an adult, a child, or whoever. Eric got issues. He don't like people. Boom, or I did something, and that should automatically send a red flag up the chain and say, okay, well, you don't need one, because it's an alarming trend. The people that go out and do these shootings all have mental issues and should not have been able to purchase one. But again, like you said, the system is broken and it's making billions. What was it? El Paso, when we was in El Paso, when they built that Freedom Crossing, they made, for, was it Saturday, Sunday, and Monday? Or was it Friday too? Over a 4-day weekend, $250,000 in gun sales. This in 2010, $250,000 in 4 days. It's a win-win situation for them because people are always buying them. And since they have no restrictions on what you can buy, you know, you would think a person would go down there and they would get a 50 caliber rifle or an AK-47 or an AR-15. There's no reason to own those.
Nope.
You say, well, you're free to own whatever you want to own, but it's like, why do you even need one of them? So it's you can speak all day on it. The system is broken, but until they are ready to define the right to bear arms, will be messing with their pockets. Think about it.
Well, that's why that's why the gun there's no gun control.
That's right, exactly.
You're like you look at what is it? Australia had that one mass shooting, and they shut it down.
They shut it down.
They had no other mass. They had no more mass shootings.
No more.
South Korea, you're not allowed to carry firearms in South Korea. You go and you look at their crime rate versus the United States. Our crime rate is off the charts. If you actually go in, like, okay, the laws are, if you're a felon, you can't have a gun. You got felons, they got 4 or 5 guns. So it's like, it kind of got to the point now where the laws don't mean anything until you get caught.
Right.
And I mean, that's what it all boils down to. These ghost guns, I'm like, now they're trying to regulate the ghost guns. Well, it should have never happened from the very beginning.
No.
But they allow these ghost guns to get out here. Now anyone has access to a ghost gun. So it's like, if you want to get a ghost gun, an untraceable gun, you can get a gun, do something crazy, and they can't trace it back. Now, unless they find a weapon, then that's the only way they can trace it. But it's gotten to the point now, freedom of speech, there's no, like, they have their boundaries, but gun control, yeah, there's certain things in place, but do you really have to follow those guidelines? No. If people want money, they're going to find ways of getting it. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
if you got enough money or the right money, there's ways to get it. So to me, when you say freedom of speech, and then because like what people get it confused lately over the last what they say over the last 10 years, we've had more protesting with guns than ever. And so now people are mistaking that you can bear arms and have freedom of speech are the same thing because go back and you look at all the actual like last 5 years. Look at how many protesting actually had guns.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what happened? When you had a bunch of black people show up with guns for a protest, then now it's a whole nother ball game. And they start to make a comparison where, like now, I can go all the way back to where the Black Panthers in California when they showed up with guns. How California law tried to
Mhm,
change the laws because they didn't want black people to have access to guns like that.
mhm.
They can't be
And be able to
bullies, like,
protect ourselves. Yep.
right? So it's
Mhm,
like it's one of those things to where the world, well, I'm gonna say the world, the U.S., United States of America, is out of control. The
Mm-hmm.
freedom, and that's one of the things I always say, freedom in USA has cost us our actual like safe. I mean, our safety is no longer exist. We have freedom, but we're no longer safe, and that's the sad part. I mean, you look at how many more times we got to hear about mass. There's been more mass shootings within these last 5 years than ever.
Yeah.
Because they're showing the numbers. I remember one time they were showing the numbers that it's just gotten completely out of control within these
Mhm.
last 5 years. So they said from 2018, the numbers have skyrocketed up to where there's more guns on the streets, there's more illegal guns on the streets, um, there's more felons that have guns. More people are buying guns because people have guns. So people
Mm-hmm.
rather have a gun, they're better to have one than not to have one. And that, I mean, it's just gotten crazy. And then, I mean, in one article, they did blame it on our political leaders because
Mm-hmm.
our political leaders are making money
Yes.
off of the sale of guns.
Yes. Let's see. War. Hmm. So it's
What's sad about that, Eric, is that war, the money, the guns. This is the part that's funny. There's more guns being used throughout the United States than what we use in the combat zone of the war in
yes.
Afghanistan and the war in Iraq.
Yes.
They made a
Yes.
comparison of that, and it blew my mind. We have more guns in circulation than the guns we use for two wars.
Mm-hmm. See, it's really a sad state of affairs because I'm always looking at news and I read something. I think it was China, one of the worst crimes in history. So I click on it. Some dude did a smash and grab at a jewelry store. That's your worst crime? You know, that's what made the news. Y'all doing good because you can't have guns over there. You know, and you can look at the even look at this might be a little bit off topic. You look at the prison systems. A lot of the countries, the foreign countries, they don't have guns. The only thing they got is a whistle. What do we have here? We got SWAT teams, we got all this and all that, and this and that. And those countries, those prisoners, they respect them dudes. So they don't even have to worry about it. They say, come here, cuff up. They come over there, they cuff up. They ain't no back talk. They ain't nothing. Here, we got guns, we got pepper spray, we got special teams, we got to do all that. We got to have batons and this and that. It is a sad state of affairs. And another problem with the United States is we're too tunnel minded. We have too much tunnel vision. We don't want to know what's going on outside. Long as what's going on here is the way the stuff should be. No, it's embarrassing. We're nowhere in the top 10, even the top 50 in math, English, chemistry. Technology is on the butt end of everything. It's like, but yet here we are. spending thousands and thousands of dollars on phones that come out every 6 months.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the phone you had 6 months ago, but since this is the new one, there's even people that come out that work for these companies and say all they do is change one simple thing. And they let you, and they're telling you that it's new and approved, and you run and go buy it. It's the same with guns. There's a multi-billion-dollar business to define who can or cannot hold a gun. You can call it a weapon of mass destruction. Will be to cut down on the money that they're making. Because let's be honest, guns are like cell phones now. The prices are ridiculous, and people are buying them. They're buying them. You spend as much as 10 grand on a weapon, depending on which one you want. Like a 50 cal rifle, 10 grand. The bullets are $100 a pop. People get them. Why? Because who's gonna stop them? Why? Who's gonna ask them why do you need it? Why would you need a gun so powerful when you ever use it? Don't matter. Just shut up and box it up. I'm gonna buy it. You want me to buy it or don't you? And that's the way it is. Like Seth alluded to earlier, freedom of speech. Our freedom, the word freedom has cost us dearly. Because at the end of the day, it's really not freedom. No, what it is free to talk. It's not freedom, it's free to talk. Because now, if you say something, you use the wrong pronoun, you can be canceled.
Well, our freedom has become become a way of us being prisoners of our greed.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what the USA has turned into. Our freedom has cost us so much to where now we are prisoners of our greed within our country. So as long as someone can make $1 off of it, we are kind of prisoners of it. I mean, you look at the transportation system. I'm just gonna the transportation system in the United States is causing us to fall completely apart.
Yes.
Because we can't get stuff to them. Then they're saying the most heaviest company that does most of the trucking is filing for bankruptcy.
Yes.
So it's kind of like everything about the United States, it falls on the greed. Like our priorities, you would think the people that are supposed to build our country and protect us getting paid the lowest salary in the United States. You look at teachers, you look at police officers, they are the bottom. They don't get paid like a doctor would get paid. They don't get paid like people that should get paid like a school teacher. I would listen to one of the teacher starting off making $32,000 a year as a school teacher. Who can live off of $32,000?
Well, it's because America is a concept. So when you look at America, it's a concept. What is a concept? It's something that was made up, basically. So they kind of make the rules. The rules are made as we go, and the finish line is always changing for what it should be. You know, all this pushing college degrees, all that stuff has gotten us with this freedom of speech where we feel like we're more educated, but yet we're dumber, if that makes sense.
No,
and so that does not add up. So what have we become? Educated fools? I mean, yes. that's kind of what it amounts to, because you've got so many people with all these opinions, but then we're not getting anything done. It's like you're constantly spinning your wheels. So I think in our right to feel like we should bear arms and the right to feel like we can say whatever we want to, how the lines are getting blurred is because in us saying, we're not doing. So we're not having actions. We just have a lot of words. And so then when the next big thing happens, and we're constantly distracted because everything's happening in real time now. So it's like this will be going on, and then it'll be the next big distraction, and you forget about this and move over here and start thinking about. So it's almost like although we've got more knowledge and more technology, we're not as advanced as we should be. And I was hoping that during the pandemic, the adult timeout, that, like you were saying with the teachers and stuff like that, some things would have been looked at from a different perspective, because other countries didn't suffer the way our children did.
No.
They were prepared.
Yes.
We still are unwilling to let go of money because we see money as power, power as control. And we don't see how we are. It's like we talk about this younger generation, but what seeds are we really sowing into them? We're just teaching them how to speak up for themselves, but we're not teaching them integrity, how to get laws changed, how to proactively go into government and lobby for things for change. I haven't seen that happening with this younger generation. It's still the baby boomers and then my generation that are still doing most of that, because on the back end, we're, like I said, we're teaching that generation, speak up, don't put up with this, don't do that. But we're not teaching them how not to, once you make that decision, how not to have to fall back into an environment that's not safe. Or, because you ask a teenager now, what do they want to be when they grow up? And they say an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer doctors, lawyers. That takes too long, or the banishing of weapons. The reason why we see them killing each other is because the video games and stuff are so violent. So they're numb. They're like seeing everything every day in real time. So it's like I felt myself getting numb about stuff lately. It's like, oh well, that doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was reading an article that said America is a concept, not a reality. Because a reality is established from something fundamental, and then it holds you accountable to a fundamental principle. America is a concept. From day one, it was created upon stealing and lying and doing wrong by people. That's been the whole concept of it. Who can begot who gets over on who. That's the whole concept. And so now we see it manifest itself because we can see everything that everybody's doing kind of in real time because of technology. But in the reality, this has been going on from the day they landed on the Plymouth Rock, or Plymouth Rock landed on us, whichever way it happened. From that moment, this concept of you got this hierarchy and you got the lowarchy. That's it. And they give you a false illusion that it's a freedom of speech, but everything it's not. It's a concept.
Comes at a price.
Right.
Everything has a price tag on it. Absolutely.
And speaking on what you alluded to is what I scream all the time. We're a reactive society, where government is a reactive government, which makes the society reactive instead of being proactive. See, if proactive, you answer prevention is worth a pound of cure. So it will take for all the teachers in America to say, I'm done. Oh, then that's when Dr. Politician is going to stand there with his chest out. I have a fix for it. Let's give them more money. Oh,
it's already starting to happen.
I know, but that's a great idea. Let's go ahead and execute that. I mean, it's like, well, they should be paid anyway. The truck driver, the teachers,
military,
the military, the policemen, all those people who are standing at the forefront of these quote unquote freedoms that you have, they should be getting paid. Matter of fact, teachers should be getting hazard pay.
Well, I mean, you look at like government, like I went to a job fair about a month ago, for like the local judicial offices and stuff. And I was taken aback about how much they were paying recruiters. It was almost $30,000 below what you would make in a corporate environment. And that's a big difference between me going to work at, ABC Corporation and me wanting to work for my local government, and they're paying me almost $35,000-$40,000 less. That's crazy. So where is the money going? So when I went down to a job fair, I'm like, the 911 dispatchers, they don't make no money. That's a hard job.
Yes. And they have a high turnover rate.
Yes. And I'm sitting there looking at the man and I'm like, man, I can't do this job. I said, first, it's not paying enough. Let's get that part straight. Secondly, it would be infringing on my mental health because I can't, right? Then I can't hardly pay my bills. Then I'm in here listening to everybody else serious problems because you're taking life or death calls. But where is the money going? Yeah. We got to start with what's going on in our local government before we can even get to the White House. I mean, we're always the White House, the president. That's way beyond where what's going on locally that a job that is normally $35,000 to $40,000 paying more is paying that much less for government work, to work at your local government office.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the key thing though is, like you said, it's a concept because you would think the balance of power, if all the prices were going up to purchase something, it seemed like everybody should be getting a raise to meet that. But instead, prices are going up, but we're still paying. I mean, like me and Marcel were just talking about how North Carolina still is paying people $7 and some change for minimum wages.
No,
so it's kind of like, it's sad to where different states have recognized it and changed their minimum wage, but as across the board for the United States, the minimum wage is $7.25 or $7 and some change. So it's like it's called control because right now, and like I said, the president is just a puppet. I don't care who the president is. It's all about Congress. Congress is the key thing. And until we understand, we need to get all those old people out of Congress. I don't care if they're black or white. We got to get all those old people out of Congress because the reason why the U.S. is not growing fast is because those old people are stuck in their ways.
They're stuck there.
They do not want to make changes. So it's like until then, because like you look at, like I was sitting here watching them one day and they were struggling on operating a computer. Struggling on how to operate a cell phone. So if they're struggling to operate technology, they're going to hold us back. Well, anytime you got a leader in a position that they have control over our destiny and they're stuck in the 60s and the 70s, we will never grow as a country.
No,
and that is the biggest problem.
Stifling our freedom of speech.
And also,
a lot of talk, no action.
Right.
Also, because a lot of these appointments are lifetime appointments. Well, even if it's a lifetime appointment, hey, Social Security started 62, then your position should be over at that time. You shouldn't be no 96 holding no position because you can barely hold your head up.
And getting up to the microphone and forgetting what you were going to say.
And just freeze like you doing the plate challenge.
Like they right here. Then somebody cover up for you.
Yeah.
If I'm doing that, I'm going to be forced in retirement out of my normal 9-to-5 job. Yeah. I'm not gonna be able to go nowhere talking about I'm recruiting people looking like this. Talking about, I mean, who get ready to go let you work? I mean, so again, we exercise our freedom of speech, but it is not heard. So
no, it's not.
What do you do to make sure it's heard? It's heard about the guns. They hear that, but this stuff about Congress, everybody's having the same conversation. Black, white, orange, green with polka dots. We're all saying the same thing. But how do you move forward to make it become action and not just talk?
Take money out of the picture. When you take money out the picture, like I said, if people in Congress was getting paid like everybody else,
like all other government officials.
Everything would change because then they would do their jobs. See, now they go in, they pretend, they put on, they call them the pretenders, the greatest show of pretenders. They go in there and they put on these crazy little shows now. That's what, ever since Trump, is now more of a show. So they go in there and they make these big little, they just want to get the little snippet so then Fox News, CNN can play it.
Oh, they meet to meet. They meet to plan the next meeting.
So And that's closed to the public.
Right.
So that's why I say that the way our country is now, we're going to get worse before we get better.
Yes.
We're never going to, because anytime there's a dollar sign involved, we will never change who we are.
Just look, just take a little sneak peek into how other countries are ran. They don't have nowhere near the problem that we have.
They don't want that.
I mean, you mean to tell me in a maximum security prison with killers, the only thing you have is a whistle? And there was this guy that was a kid. He killed 15 people, and that guard walked up to him, "Hey, cuff up." And he came right on up there, and they interviewed the guy. And he said, "Yeah, I'm scared to death of the corrections officer. They're the scariest people I ever met, and all they have is a whistle." See, it just proves that the concept, like you said, well, it looks good on paper, but nobody's being trained. Nobody's being taught simple things, conflict resolution. Nobody's being taught that. Even in the government, they're not being taught that. Oh, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. Which is why a lot of the prisoners are speaking out. But what we do with their freedom, oh, you locked up, you don't have a voice. Yes, you do. You're the one that living through it.
Well, I always say, I got a saying that you're never affected until it affects you. And one thing about Congress, they're not being affected by anything. They're not being affected by gas prices. They're not being affected by the housing market. They're not being affected by food. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it doesn't matter how the country is heading, because it don't affect them or their family members. You understand what I'm saying? And they can, you can be in Congress for 2 years, and for the rest of your life, you don't have to work no more. But you have people that's in the military. You literally retire from the military. A lot of times people have to go out and get extra income. You know what I'm saying? If they want to do extra things, And so it's sad that the country is the way it is, based on, like you said, they're just sitting up there. They about to fall over because they about 96 and stuff like that. Like Mario said, they're in the 60s and the 70s and stuff like that. And so it's just sad.
It makes no sense.
It's a real sad.
And then the other crazy part too is when you start breaking it down, they've had things that have happened to them, gun violence things, that they still, because it's about money. So even though they may not relate to some, they've had people come in their house, killing up their family members, shooting them up, holding them hostage. They're dealing with that too, but they still, because of money and the dirtiness that they've done, the tricks that they've played to stay in position, and the lies and the promises they've made, we're up here suffering because of people with lack of integrity.
Yeah.
Because see, when you have integrity, you're not gonna always be popular.
No. Oh no.
Truthful people don't have a lot of friends.
No.
Because most people can't come in the kitchen and stand the fire. I think Adisha said, "Can you stand the rain?" Most people can't stand the rain with a true person. But if we look at it, what was that? The Pelosi lady, somebody came to her house and during
her husband, right?
Husband, right. But again, there have things going on too, and it still doesn't make them change the laws.
Yeah,
right. American greed.
The perfect thing is take January 6th. People attacked our own Capitol over what? Over lies and everything. And so they came in, they attacked our own country. And then I want people to understand is that people in Congress are getting paid just because in order for you to get your idea to Congress, you have to have someone who's going to lobby for you. So that costs them money. So the lobbyists are making money just to get your idea to Congress. So freedom of speech doesn't really mean anything if you really think about it, because it has no effect on the government. If you ain't got that green thing that kind of folds, you're not.
And a lot of it.
Right. So freedom of speech means nothing. Your freedom of speech can be canceled with a dollar bill.
Yep.
Especially when they can vote in their own pay raises and stuff like that. And it's like the more money they got, the more money they want. you know. And
And
then
then
it's like when they do give the citizens like a little stimulus check,
They
or
want it back.
or they want it back. Some kind of way you're gonna pay it back. You know what I'm saying? So nothing they give us is free.
And that same concept applies to every business, no matter what it is. Let's go education. Okay. You sit here and you looking at the records. You say what is it? 140, 150 for a bachelor's degree. You sitting there, you looking at it, and you see it, but you have no diploma. So you're asking yourself, if it says this on your website, why don't I have one? Well, it's all about the money. It's all about money. I'm not going to give you nothing. I want you to come up here so I can talk to you and tell you you need these many more classes for you to say that's BS. Then they try to tell you, which is happening to me, I'm going to hold your diploma hostage until you take this other class. How can you hold a diploma hostage for a class that you told me I did not have to take? You see this little student agreement that I signed and you signed? This is what you said that I had to put because I had you put it in there. Oh, yeah. You're going to go on and graduate. And it's the same story no matter what college you go to. They'll take this, but they're not going to take that. They'll take that, but they're not going to take this.
It's money.
And it's
all about
that's
money.
exactly
I mean,
what it
that's
is.
why
It's
only so
money.
many credits will transfer. And
It's
I
about
tell
money.
people that in and of itself, falls into that what people think is freedom of speech. No, it's not.
Yes.
Because if you're not consistent and you keep switching schools, that's how they make the money.
Mm-hmm.
School isn't about degrees, are not about who's the smartest. It's about
Nope.
who's the most consistent.
Mm-hmm.
If you have endurance, you can get a degree because as long as you stay there and finish it, they're gonna give it to you eventually. But if you keep switching schools, that's the worst thing you can do because they're gonna get your money. Because you only so many transfer credits are gonna transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And I think people need to understand that is the way the United States is built as a concept is the more money you make, the more freedom you have.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have, let's say you take someone who's on welfare. How many more rules, guidelines do they have to follow just to go spend $1? Look at all the things you have to. When you're poor, you are restricted in so many different ways to where you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. So you have no freedom of speech in a sense. You have no voice to speak because when you have no money, you don't exist in the United States.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
if you have $1 and you have a lot of those dollars, like look at all what's going on right now with the president, or excuse me, the ex-president, the orange guy, Trump. Look at he all this money, so he thought that he doesn't have to follow the rules of what a normal American has to
He
follow.
never has had to.
Right. So all this time, because he had money, he's been able to get away with murder. He's been able to get away with so much stuff. So it's like we're looking at why our country is so messed up. Here it is. You had a dude that was the president who has violated so many laws over the year. How he became president is the most stupidest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
This man was a criminal. He had ripped off so many Americans, has this terrible stuff to people, all these different companies that did work for him and he didn't pay them, and he made up stuff to steal people's money, and he became the president. And then he's done all these violations of the law and still able to walk free.
Mm-hmm.
We go out here, we get a speeding ticket, we go past 20 miles per hour, we might not come home alive. They might shoot us just for pulling us over. So that's why I say it's kind of like it's about the money and then the double standards.
Yeah.
The double standards have existed for years.
Yeah.
And it's never, I don't care what nobody says, it's never going to change.
No.
It's never going to change. Because you're going to have people that are just so, that have nothing but hate in them, to where that double standard, if they're in the right position, it's always going to exist. So when you take a gun, some reason somehow people feel like they get in power with a gun, because freedom of speech technically means nothing in today's society.
Mm-hmm.
The only two things that mean anything is a dollar bill and a gun. Those are the two things that mean anything, because you can take somebody's life or you can buy somebody's life.
True. That's true. Yep.
Well, I like I said, we just got to keep on. We got to figure out how to get our voices heard. I think it starts with your local, who you vote in, and then it goes from there. We have the most control to make the most significant impact based on how we vote locally in our community. But so many people still don't show up to vote for those things. And, we still have the higher turnout for presidential elections. I don't know if y'all been paying attention. In Georgia, you're not allowed to bring water in the lines anymore. So this next
What?
election is going to be very interesting, because you can't bring water, you can't bring food to people in the lines if the lines are long. They've closed down a lot of voting centers.
That's a way to get rid of water.
And
Mhm.
they've
That's
made
what
a
they're
lot.
doing, yeah.
And then even the absentee voting, they've changed the laws for that. Some of the laws have been changed so that if like how the mayors and stuff had the authority to shut down like Atlanta and Augusta and those type of things, the governor went in and made laws to where they can't do that anymore. He gets to usurp their authority now. So again, we're not paying attention, and so much stuff is happening in the background that is very violates your right of speech, or and it's violations, clear violations. But we only pay attention to what everybody else is paying attention to. And if it doesn't affect us, we don't care,
Because what is water going to do in the line? What is bringing food going to do? What it's going to do is going to cause people to walk away and not vote because they hide.
And that's what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
So
or they put them in smaller, what do you call them, voting centers, so that there is a line, and or whatever the case. They make it very inconvenient so that
so they can sway the vote in their favor.
Yeah.
But see, another problem we have is we don't. Okay, voting is one thing, but we are not holding the ones we vote in accountable. We're not making them deliver on what they said they were going to. I'm gonna kiss every kid in the district. Get elected in, don't see you no more. Only time you see them is voting season. Every time.
When they kissing kids and shaking hands.
They said the most effectiveness that you see.
This message.
The most effectiveness they said in Congress is the first 4 years. A congressperson who is elected into Congress does more work for the people within their first 4 years. After 4 years,
the only term.
Right. That's why they said they need to shorten the terms, just like they do the presidency, where you only can do so much, because if you get in there and you've been in there for 16, 20 plus years, you're now comfortable. You're making extra money just because you're holding that seat. It ain't about the people anymore. It's about the money that you're making.
Yeah.
So Congress is one of those concepts to where if you give someone, like say for some of the younger ones, they're going to Congress. That's why you hear more about what they're doing now than these older ones. The younger ones are going in there. They're fighting like they know they know what it feels like to be poor. They know what it feels like to struggle every day off of $7 and some change per hour. So the younger ones are doing more for us than these older ones. Me personally, they need to wipe. If you are 50 years and older, they need to wipe everybody out of Congress, make them all retire, and start over. Because that's why we're having so many problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no refuse to change.
We're so stuck in the old way of doing things.
That Justice, how old was she? 96. Was she like 96 when she passed away? Had the highest court in the United States.
But then again, let's go back to look at that too. Look at the highest court. What's the youngest age in the highest court?
Probably 80.
So what I'm saying is that we have too many older people in these positions. Now, I mean, if they can do the job and maintain, keep up, that's one thing. But we got way too many. They're stuck in their ways of doing. It's like now, I mean, everything is about like they don't want to change guns because they grew up with guns. Most of them have their own guns. Oh no, back in the day, back in the 60s, okay, 50s, 60s, it was a different world.
Yeah.
We're now dealing in 2000. Now we're making ghost guns.
On 3D printers.
Right. So now they're just like technology has kind of like past our educational level, and we're falling behind because our leadership is still stuck in the 60s and 70s. It's sad that where we have to, the two key people going to be president is already over the age of 70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
And that's
It's
every
just like
time they run. I'm like, where's all these other people that runs and are able to run? Well, why we got all these staring dudes that sit there and you say, what do you think about the football game? And they just stare into the camera. And then you escort them off the stage and try to come back with a reason why. We already know why they. Oh, why is he even speaking?
But the sad thing is,
His conversation should be 064. Bingo, that's what his conversation should be.
because I mean, to be honest with you, look, they say the most people that vote are over the age of 50 years old.
Mhm.
Majority of our voters in the United States are over the age of 50 years old. The young generation don't care. They don't care about the government. They don't care about the politics. They care about the here and now and what's going on around them. So until we get the younger generation gets more involved, we're going to continue to have all these old people continue to run the country, and they're going to run into the ground because we're going to be so far behind on times. It's like if it wasn't for these billionaires who are creating things like Apple and Microsoft, we would have been falling behind. But it's sad. If you look at the technology, there's only but certain people. It's completely corporates that are controlling our growth. It's not the government.
No,
It's the corporate. It's the person who has the money that's controlling our country.
It's the money. Once you become a rule of thumb is once you become a billionaire, you get to make decisions. That's just the way. That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
Yeah. As long as you're a millionaire, you still have like if you're the top 2% of the United States in wealth, you have control over the United States.
Yes, you do. Yes. Look at what happened. Eric, who's 50 million, and Mario, who's worth $1 billion. See, I might have to shut my company down and sell it. But since Mario's $1 billion company, well, that little infringement that he had, it's gonna go away. Because all he gonna do is give a donation to whoever, and it's gonna go away, never to happen again. Whereas me, with my little company I struggled in, I'm gonna get hit over the head with some fines that I can't pay, and I'm gonna have to shut down. And that's the way it is. You a billionaire, you make the rules in the United States. You got part ownership.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest things that if you don't know how to play the game, then you're gonna lose because you have people that make it up there, make all this money, but then don't pay their taxes.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things. Like, okay, that's part of the game. If you make the money, you got to pay your taxes in order to stay in the game. As soon as you mess up, they're gonna come and get you. And that's why I say if you sit back and you listen to all these people who have make millions and millions of dollars, and then you'll hear like someone, let's say I'm gonna take for example, Wesley Snipes made all those movies and now broke. I mean that's crazy because they didn't pay taxes. You take Lauryn Hill, made all that music, but is broke because she didn't pay her taxes. It's like you got to play the game. The game is established. They will change. Don't get me wrong. They will change the rules on us, but as long as you're playing the game, you can get ahead. But when you decide that you think that you are untouchable, that's when you get touched.
That's when they hit you upside your head. That same bingo coalition coming to get you. That's what we need to do. We need to get rid of the bingo coalition. Go ahead and take them to the nursing home and say, hey, do all the stuff you want to do right there because these people are too old holding these positions. And I want somebody to explain to me why every 4 years we have a presidency, you got at least one dude who even passed bingo age sitting in there running. He can't effectively lead. Look at Biden. He can't effectively lead. He over the hill, over the pasture, over the moon. He over all that. That don't make no. How are these old? I'm
To
like,
be
seriously?
to be honest, so I've been doing some digging into Biden's presidency. So what we have to remember is for a business, it's 2 years to get any business running right, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Trump rolled off the coattails of what Obama did.
Mm-hmm.
Now Biden is having to come in and fix what Trump did. So he can't be an effective presidency because right now he's playing defense. He didn't get a well-oiled machine. And if you look at how the presidency does, it does that every couple of years. You'll have somebody come in, jack it completely up, then you got to have a cleanup person.
Right.
So then you think the cleanup person ain't doing nothing when in fact they are doing stuff, but they having to clean up a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know how a business is established, you know it takes a business 2 years to become functional. It's no business is functional in 6 months to a year. It is 2 years. I've never seen a business be completely profitable and sustainable before 2 years.
Right.
So
And that's if you're doing anything right.
Right.
2 years. If you're
Right.
doing anything
So Obama's first term, he spent his first term cleaning up mess.
Bush's mess.
Right. Then you go back his next 2 years, then you started seeing where he was making some headway.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got to understand what he did dominoes into. Trump didn't get but the 2 years, right? Did he get 4 or did he get 2? He only got elected once.
Right.
So he rolled so he did the 4 years. He rolled the coattails of what was already the seeds that were already planted. Because if you think about it, all he spent his time doing was undoing stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing new really happened under his 4 years of presidency. Nothing new that was fundamental to the people. He spent a lot of time undoing things.
Right. So he spent more time trying to destroy what was good for the people. He was trying to destroy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now you get Biden in office, and it's like, well, good God, I got to start. So imagine how he feels. He left after the Obama administration. They felt like they left a well-oiled machine. Then you come back 4 years later, and you got to clean up again stuff that was you've already touched. So it's like he's had to touch stuff twice. And you're fighting against the people because of the lies that were told. So it's a whole lot going on. He hasn't been able to truly be an effective leader because of what he had to come in behind.
I'm not questioning his effectiveness as a leader. I'm questioning his age while being a leader. There has to be a cutoff as to how old, because you should not be standing in front of billions of people.
Well, I don't think at his age, and I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be an age cutoff, but this is what we got now. So we can't hypothetically go undo the fact that we got an old president. But what I'm saying is the hand that he was dealt, he could have been 50 and he still would have been struggling. It's just no way around whoever's in office at this present time, they're going to struggle. There was no way around that, no matter what the age is. Whoever comes in next, if he doesn't get his second term, they're going to struggle some too because of he struggled so bad because of what they've been left with. You got it's real deep. If you go start looking at the transcripts and stuff for everything that got undone, it was a lot.
It was a lot. I mean, my thing is when you put somebody in a job, if you put somebody in a job that's not qualified, and this is the thing that we all know better. If I look at your resume and you're not qualified to do the job, you should not even get a chance to even go for the job. Everyone knew Trump was not qualified to work. He did not work a day with community service. He didn't do nothing for the people. So what made people think he was going to do something for the people when he got? All he did was he did things to take care of his friends,
rich people,
right.
rich people, and it benefited him in the long run. So anyone that was making money, it didn't benefit the people. The people, and this is one of the things he said. He loves stupid people because stupid people are the easiest people to fool. Mm-hmm. He made it very clear. It's a statement that he has said his entire life. He loves dumb people because they're the easiest ones to trick or
Yeah.
to fake. And so when we look at everything, like you said, you look at everything that he undid, just because
It
the
could have been a
first black
40-year-old president. You was gonna have some problems at this
Right.
point.
Right, because his whole thing was they did not like the idea that a black president came in and did better things for any other president. I mean, but like they compare like Obama and Clinton have been the most two effective presidents in a very long time for our country. So when Obama came in and he made a major changes, all Trump tried to do was go back and undo it. These people that follow Trump, majority of them were racist individuals with KKK. They didn't care that it benefited the people. They didn't like the idea that he
It
was
was
getting
a
credit
black
for it.
man,
It was a
right?
black man getting credit.
And
Think
then
about
did Obama do everything right? No.
No.
But the whole point was, like I said again, I respect what you said about the age, Eric. I agree. We shouldn't have people in there beyond a certain age. But where we're at right now, it wouldn't have mattered if a 25-year-old went in there. It was going to be a disaster. And that person was going to have to kind of move in silence so that the left hand don't know what the right hand doing. That's why we don't hear a whole lot, because he's having to do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that if he starts speaking publicly about it, it's going to get shut down before it can even get to us. That's the other thing. When you read the actual transcripts, you see a whole lot of what they've been fighting. And it's like, oh my God, this ain't in the news, because the news is not going to tell us that.
No.
They're only going to tell us what they feel can sway our opinion.
Something that it's like the news. That's why I don't care nothing about it. Something that should have been on the news is the fact that Trump, gave people top secret clearances who, by definition of the rules and the regulations set forth by top secret, could not get it. And so if the intelligence community says Eric don't qualify for a top secret, it has to go up to the president. And the president can approve it, and you get a top secret. So then he comes back and backtracks, and even though he signed it for those people to get a top secret, I didn't know the president could do that.
Again, not qualified for the position. And my thing is, again, I've been in Biden's situation, young and older now, where I've had to clean up other people's messes. It takes a lot to clean up. And I can't even imagine the extent of the stuff that he's having to clean up while still being drugged through the mud all the time. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
I mean, you could just look at the EPA, look at the CTC. I mean, there's so many organizations that Trump messed up.
Oh my God.
So it's like the COVID was just a crystal clear picture of all the systems that he broke or destroyed while he was the president. And that's why we had so many problems and issues. And then he tried to blame it on Obama. No, you can't blame Obama. You've been off for 2 years now. You can't blame nothing on him.
That was so
it's like you already been in there 2 years. Your training wheels are on.
Right. At that point, this was your Frankenstein.
Right.
He blamed
so that's why I say that
he got so deep, y'all. He tore apart the Postal Service just to get somebody in there who he can control. He even tore apart the daggum food and nutrition. What is it called? The FCC or the FC? What?
Right.
Even
everything that regulate all the things that regulate what we do in the United States, because he wanted to be able to go in and make it easier for those who are making money to make more money.
And that's how we were defenseless when it came to COVID, because the people who have been working on those kind of projects, their positions have been dissolved. So again, it's a whole lot of like, if y'all get a chance, it's a show on Netflix about the food industry and the regulations.
FDA, EPA, all the acronyms, the FDA, the CTC, even the World what is it? What is it called? I can't think of it. It's
The
called
world something.
WHO.
World
The
Health
WHO, yeah,
Organization.
the WHO, the World
Yeah,
Health
World Health
Organization.
Organization.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is called WHO. It's like you go back and look at all the things and structure that he dissolved just
Yep.
so he can control and help his
Money.
buddies out with money. The transportation system was one of the main ones that took a major hit. He started putting his friends in position that were loyal to him.
Lobbyists to him.
That's it.
I'm
So it's all
telling
about
y'all, this thing. I wouldn't have wanted Biden's job. Period. I wouldn't have cared how old I was. There was a disaster. He walked into a freaking inferno. And
Right.
It doesn't matter what he does at this point. His presidency will never look like it was a successful presidency. It will not. It doesn't matter what he does.
Well, see, the thing is, if he gets reelected again, he'll have a chance to fix it because he'll have 4 more years. Because
I just think he's too old. I agree with Eric. I think he's too old. I think he needs to
look at
go sit down now.
what we have. Look at our scenario. Our country is at a loss because you got these knuckleheads. Even if Trump he's no longer running for president. These crazy individuals all raised their hand, saying
That
if
man from
Trump would become
Florida.
the front runner,
Oh my
they'll
God.
raise their hand. They were there. So it's like we have people that have no backbone. How can you have
That dude
a person?
He
in
got
leadership
dirt
position-
on all these people.
Huh?
He has dirt, something
Yeah.
to use. This is why I say you always walk in integrity, because then that way can't nobody hurt you with your truth. I'll call the police on myself before I let you call the police on me.
Right.
Okay. And and I'll call with pride. Police, this is what I was doing. Now, you know, but you're not gonna ever have nothing on me that I can't expose for my own self. That's the worst place to be in life. And so many people are in that place.
Yeah.
And then therefore meaning they can't be effective in their jobs. So these people are tainted. It did not surprise me that they all raised their hand. I would have been surprised that they didn't raise their hand.
And that's where it's sad to me is that they're like, so everyone that's running for the number one job in the United States has no backbone.
None.
Has no backbone.
Thing I know, integrity, something dirt wise is something. All that's gonna come out one day, but it's terrible. Look,
Don't forget about that Florida governor. Ooh.
Oh no, I don't fool with him. That thing there.
Jesus.
Well, it's about that time.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's gonna make it no matter what, because it seems like the history for Florida, anyone who's came up in Florida never becomes president.
That's true.
So I'm not even worried about him because he's just nobody. That dude, like, I mean, the Republican Party is not even caring for this dude at all.
No, they're not. He is just out of control.
So, do anybody have a last question, or we just gonna sum it up?
Well, I guess we go around and say, like, me personally, a person with a gun has more power than a person with freedom of speech. That's just how it is in today's society. And then the Trump at all, whoever has the most money trumps everybody.
Yep.
I concur. I ain't got nothing to say. I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, in order, like I said earlier, in order to fix it, that means this money is going to be lost, which means it's not going to be fixed.
People are not going to lose money. Someone will die first. There'll be 1 million people die first before they change the law for gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I have nothing to say. It's all. It is what it is on this one.
There it is.
It's been a
So
great
freedom.
one.
Look, it doesn't amend. Was it amended one, an amendment, or the First Amendment, Second Amendment? It don't matter. The Green Amendment trumps all.
Yep. American Greed. I don't know if y'all have ever watched that show before.
Yes.
That's a very powerful show because it's it's a real thing. And so, hey, if you follow the money, you normally follow the criminals. You can find a crook in every money trail, and it's very unfortunate. But you can't pay for peace, and I've never understood that statement more than I do now. That you can just simply be at Dollar General and get murdered, or at the grocery store and get murdered,
but
nothing other than you're just black.
Do you know what's so crazy is now more and more you hear about these people, these compounds, where people are taking it upon themselves to create their own towns their own
Mhm.
compounds. It's almost like we're getting ready for the or Walking of the Living Dead, where everyone's
Civil
going
War.
to making their own compound. Like what is it? They have the what, I think it was like they said so many black families came together to make a black town in Georgia,
Mhm.
and that town has no crime, zero crime. I mean, everything is perfect because the families know each other, and they won't let anyone from the outside come in. So it's like just like in all these militias and compounds out here and on the west, is that they're doing good because they won't let outside people come in, and it's like they live by their own rules and their own guidelines. They don't give up on the United States government because they know it's corrupt.
Yeah.
That's why they go back and you read that amendment. It talks about militia.
Mhm.
Militia, like it's like that keyword militia. That means that people that are willing to stand up for what's right, because U.S. government is corrupt.
Yeah.
There's just completely corrupt.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's corrupt because that Green Amendment trumps everything.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
I think we
well.
summed that up. Great
All
talk.
right.
Great one. That was a great one.
All right. So look, everyone, I hope y'all enjoyed the show today. That concludes our show. We'll hope to see y'all next time. And again, like I said, this was just something we were talking about, trying to balance the two, but in reality, there is no balance in neither one of them because the Green Amendment trumps them all.
Yep.
All right, y'all be safe. Have a great week, and
Have a
we'll see
good
y'all
evening.
next time.
Good night, everyone.